Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or tips you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Wednesday at noon and is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired on Saturday at noon, 3 and 6. Today is December 27th, 2017. And now the news at noon.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, members of the Ute Mountain Ute tribe have been charged in Denver, U.S. District Court with felony financial crimes, according to the Denver Post. The charges were filed December 13th and include embezzling and laundering money through the Ute Mountain Casino. The charges were filed December 13th and include embezzling and laundering money through the Ute Mountain Casino, the newspaper said. The 7 defendants who face charges are Daryl Jonah Lee, Loya K. House, Marion Lahee, Lidelda Lopez, Orale Jeromillo, Jennifer Ann Pioche, and Leslie Wayne Riulard. The charges include embezzling funds from the Ute Mountain Ute tribe and willfully misapplying checks. Of the defendants, Jeromillo was charged with embezzling the largest sum, more than $5,000, through a series of 7 checks in 2014, according to court records cited by the Post. One check was written to a person with the initials AS and was cashed at the casino. Jeromillo faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted. Most of the defendants have been charged with willfully misapplying checks that had been embezzled from the tribe and face up to 5 years in prison, the Post said. Tribe members have suspected foul play for more than 2 years, but tribal and U.S. officials have remained silent. On October 2, 2015, the Journal reported that the U.S. Justice Department was actively investigating a case on the Ute Mountain Ute Reservation, but the agency provided no further details. In March 2016, Ute Mountain Ute tribal members reported to the Journal that a petition was being circulated for a referendum calling for an independent investigation about whether there has been misuse of funds at the Tribal Finance Department. 2/3 of the required number of signatures had been obtained but had not been verified by election officials, according to a tribal member who spoke on condition of anonymity. The referendum was soon dropped, tribal members involved said. According to tribal government rules, if the petition for referendum is deemed valid, then the referendum goes to a vote of the wider tribe electorate.
As we wind down the year and have covered stories on most of the surrounding county and town budget happenings, the Duff Creek Press covered the Board of County Commissioners' final meeting of the year. The approval of the 2018 budget, including, as Commissioner Keible states, the difficulties and challenges of rising health insurance and the near completion of 2 new buildings that will be a valuable contribution to the county. At the start of the public hearing, with every chair filled, it became apparent that raises and an employee's salary change to full-time were on the top of many minds. Comments included, quote, "The new full-time employee will be making $2,000 more, $32,000 yearly, than an existing employee of 10 years and $4,000 more than a 3-year employee." Another quote, "We need more equality in salary, especially between upstairs and downstairs." More commentary noted, "We were told the increased wage was due to knowledge and experience, but all of us continually train and have increased our knowledge by working for the court over the period of years. Why is that not important?" Another quote, "The same thing happened when the commissioners hired other employees downstairs, greatly increased pay." Another comment stated, quote, "We just all want to be treated fairly and equally. Why, when a part-time assessor's employee moved to full-time, was she started at the base rate, but a new commissioner's secretary started above that?" Commissioner Keible replied that it had nothing to do with an upstairs-downstairs dynamic and that all employees are valued and decisions are always made, hopefully, in the best interest of the county. Attorney Goldbrick stated that the commissioners are statutorily responsible for the purse strings of the county and must be able to have latitude in hiring and promotions. Commissioner Garcher agreed as long as decisions could be as equitable as possible. A letter received from former Commissioner Ernie Williams was read by Commissioner Keible. He wished to know why, in the times of receding revenues, were such big raises implemented in the middle of 2017, and that Montezuma County Commissioners were not going to take a raise in 2018. Were they going to do that also? The reply, for the record, was that the commissioner's salary increase is mandated by state law, and some departments were able to receive salary increases due to budget windfalls or cutting in their departments. More heated discussion followed, and ideas on how to change things were tossed about until Attorney Goldberg recommended reconvening on the budget after lunch, especially since it looked like an executive session would be needed to discuss an employee's salary, and that was approved. After the executive session, the 2018 budget was approved as it stands. A final note that after 7 years of no raises for our elected officials, a 10% raise had to be given to our commissioners due to a county classification change from a Category 6 to a Category 5. This is mandated by law. The commissioners also elected to receive a 10% cost of living raise instead of the 20 or 30% raise they are allowed.
According to the Cortez Journal, beneath the murky green waters on the north end of Lake Powell, entombed within the tons of silt that have been carried down the Colorado River over the years, lies a 26,000-ton pile of unremediated uranium mill tailings. It's just one radium-tainted reminder of the way the uranium industry ravaged the West and its people for decades. In 1949, the Vanadium Corporation of America built a small mill at the confluence of White Canyon and the Colorado River to process uranium ore from the nearby Happy Jack mine, located upstream in the White Canyon drainage. For the next 4 years, the mill went through about 20 tons of ore per day, crushing and grinding it up, then treating it with sulfuric acid, tributyl phosphate, and other chemicals. 1 ton of ore yielded about 5 or 6 pounds of uranium, meaning that each day some 39,900 pounds of tailings were piled up outside the mill on the banks of the river. In 1953, the mill was closed and the tailings were left where they sat, uncovered, as was the practice of the day. 10 years later, water began backing up behind the newly built Glen Canyon Dam. Federal officials decided to let the reservoir's water inundate the tailings. There they remain today. During the uranium days of the West, more than a dozen mills, all with processing capabilities at least 10 times larger than the one at White Canyon, sat on the banks of the Colorado River and its tributaries. Mill locations included Shiprock, New Mexico, and Mexican Hat, Utah, on the San Juan River, Rifle and Grand Junction, Colorado, and Moab on the Colorado, and in Uravan, Colorado, along the San Miguel River, just above its confluence with the Dolores. They did not exactly dispose of their tailings in a responsible way, and so the billions of tons of silt that has accumulated in Lake Mead and Lake Powell serve as archives of sorts. They hold the sedimental records of an era during which people, health, land, and water were all sacrificed in order to obtain the raw material for weapons.
An article in the Dove Creek Press shared a new project the Dove Creek Chamber of Commerce is working on for 2018 to create an old Spanish Trail museum here in Dove Creek. The Chamber is working on branding with a bean, an ongoing project into 2018 with DC Chamber efforts. The Chamber manager said, quote, "We'd like to share another longer-term project in association with the DC Chamber that should provide an additional method to both celebrate our heritage and attract tourism by travelers along the Southwestern Adventure Corridor. That is, to create an Old Spanish Trail museum in Dove Creek. As many of you already know, the Old Spanish Trail was a well-worn path between Santa Fe, New Mexico and Los Angeles, California. The route had been officially identified in 2002 and earned National Historic Trail designation status in 2016 from the National Park Service and BLM coordination. What that will entail as planning progresses is official sign markers and some highlighted designated stops where people can learn about the significance of the trade route and its history. The 3 main routes are all truly arduous travel, mostly traversed using pack mules. Named after the Spanish explorers who used the route dated back to the 16th century, it was also utilized by trappers, traders, and Native American Indian tribes. Another illicit side of the trail was the significant impact of raids and slave trafficking along its great length. Of the 3 routes, the main route is the trail that ran northwest from Santa Fe into southwestern Colorado, past the San Juan Mountains, Mencos, and Dove Creek, and entering Utah near present-day Monticello. The trail then proceeded north through difficult terrain to Spanish Valley near Moab, Utah. The Colorado River crossing utilized a ferry to make the transport across the deep and wide water. The route then traveled northwest to another ferry crossing on the Wild Green River near Green River, Utah. In Dolores County, the NFS and BLM have identified 2 specific locations with remnants of the trail: Alkali Canyon trail traces and Irwin Spring trail traces. In 2018, we will begin to gather and coordinate an effort to digitize old photographs and newspaper and book information and the like, and to collaborate with the efforts already undertaken by the Old Spanish Trail Association based out of Kanab, Utah. And that's a quote from the Chamber. You can find their site at oldspanishtrail.org. The Dove Creek Chamber is a member of the association at large, and they are looking forward to establishing an educational and entertaining waypoint along the route to augment the existing sign and info display already at Triangle Park. Providing an actual physical interactive museum will provide additional interest for travelers to make a stop in Dove Creek. If you are interested in participating with the Old Spanish Trail Museum of Dove Creek, Colorado project as a volunteer, please contact the DC Chamber for more information. Their number is 970-560-2856 or email at manager@dovecreekchamber.com.
Reported by our local paper, the Dove Creek Press. On Monday, December 18, 2017, at 10 a.m., a home fire was reported at a residence in the Lone Cone subdivision near Buckhorn Lodge. 4 children were in the home when the fire began. However, they safely left the home with no lives lost, including their family pet. The oldest child of the 4 is 13 years old. According to an unofficial source, the teenager smelled smoke and investigated outside. Once outside, the teen noticed the outside of the home on fire and then safely collected his 3 siblings and family pet and went a safe distance away from the home to await responders. The Dolores County Sheriff, Jerry Martin, and Norwood Fire Department responded to the residence. The structure of the home was a total loss, but due to the reaction of the teenager and kids, their family remained intact. At press time, we were unable to ascertain where the family is staying. The Red Cross was contacted, but it is unknown whether their services were utilized. Local nonprofit Rock began collecting items and money for this Dolores County family. Additional information, including the cause of the fire, will follow in this week's paper. And now let's take a look at the weather.
Today's national weather graphic from NOAA and the National Weather Service provided by Raytheon Data shows the high-pressure system over the west, southwest, and most of the central sections of the country, keeping that weather moderate and dry. While a mix of rain and mostly snow persists all across the northern U.S. due to the frigid temperatures and biting winds. That cold and the wind chill will bring lake-effect snow to the Great Lakes, and bitter cold will continue through the new year. Take Almaty, New York as an example. The high Thursday is set for just 11 degrees. Brr. Quite an astonishing dip of a low pressure practically vertically down into Mexico. It is hovering again along the Gulf Coast and up the southeastern seaboard, bringing rain across that region. And in our region, there is a hazardous weather outlook in play for eastern Utah and western Colorado. Snowfall on northwest-facing slopes will continue in the northern mountains of Colorado and increase slightly tonight. Only light additional accumulations are expected. Extending that outlook from Thursday through next Tuesday, another round of snow is possible Friday and Friday night, generally in the mountains of western Colorado north of Interstate I-70. There is a better chance of snowfall in the mountains Saturday and Sunday. For the rest of our area, the prediction is set to be dry through Thursday, with the only areas expecting any weather to be along the continental divides in the mountains north and east of Steamboat Springs. High pressure over the entire southwest U.S. will continue to be the dominant weather feature, bringing mostly clear skies and above normal high temperatures. So perhaps a boring weather forecast is in our local neighborhood isn't so bad. A chance to do some work outside, getting ready for 2018, or enjoy a hike or other outdoor activities that aren't skiing. The DCTV 5-day outlook is as follows. Today sunny with a high near 46. East-southeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming south-southwest in the afternoon. Tonight mostly clear with a low around 24 degrees. East-southeast winds around 5. Comparing the projected low from last night in the 20s, the actual low at my house was 11 this morning with some light frost, so bear that in mind with these forecasted lows. They may be lower, just as the high temps on the day might be a bit warmer. So Thursday, sunny with a high near 51, east winds around 5 miles an hour, becoming west-northwest in the morning. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 24 degrees. East-northeast winds around 5, becoming southeast after midnight. Friday, sunny with a high near 52. East-southeast winds around 5, becoming west-southwest in the afternoon. Friday night, mostly clear and at low around 25. Saturday, sunny with a high near 53. Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low around 24. Sunday, mostly sunny again with a high near 48. Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 23. And still set for New Year's Day, mostly sunny with a high near 46. Monday night, partly cloudy with a low also around 23. And now, back to the news.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, Durango's iconic pool hall and watering spot, Colorado Pongas, which changed owners on March 1st, could lose its liquor license on January 16th. The City of Durango Local Licensing Board voted 3-0 to hold a show cause hearing in connection with reported violations of Ponga's liquor license. The hearing could lead to the imposition of a fine, a suspension of the liquor license, or complete loss of the license. Durango Police Department Commander Robert Brommer listed a litany of calls police responded to concerning Pongas at the corner of West 8th Street and Narrow Gauge Avenue from March to December 4th. A total of 109 calls included 34 assaults or disturbances, 4 calls related to sexual assaults, and several similar calls that were not pursued by reporting parties. 23 calls to deal with over-intoxicated individuals, including several who were inebriated to the point emergency medical personnel or law enforcement had to intervene. 4 calls of serving underage patrons. City Attorney Dirk Nelson said the local licensing board could revoke Pongas's liquor license at the January 16th show cause hearing. Less severe penalties, he said, could include a fine or a suspension of the liquor license for a period of time. Ryan Brungard, attorney for Pongas, owner Austin Zufelt, said on Wednesday Pongas is taking the concerns raised by the city of Durango and the licensing authority very seriously. Pongas will continue to proactively investigate the issues raised by the city. Pongas, he added, has already discussed the situation with the Durango Police Department and looks forward to cooperating with the city to best address the city's concerns.
A local report in the Dove Creek Press headlined that Kressler wins VFW Patriots Pen Scholarship. They reported the best overall VFW Patriots Pen for grades 6 through 8 scholarship entrant this year is Kinzer Kressler. The theme was America's Gift to My Generation. Congratulations go out to Kinzer. Each year, over 250,000 students enter either the Patriots Pen or the Voice of Democracy Scholarship Contest sponsored by the Veterans of Foreign Wars. The students have a chance at over $30,000 of money, and each year our students enter through our local Post 5181. The number of yearly entrants has been growing each year, as have the quality of submissions. Every year, the judges find it more difficult to select a winner due to ever-increasing quality of work submitted by the students. What used to take minutes now takes hours. At a VFW meeting in the near future, Kinzer will be presented with a Certificate of Achievement and a monetary award for his performance. Kinzer's submission has now gone to the district level and, if successful, will proceed to the state and national levels. Post 5181 wishes to thank all of the students who entered for their participation and hard work. They are all patriots, and they are proud of each and every one of them.
According to the Cortez Journal, the Trump administration's vow to streamline energy development has helped La Plata County's only running coal mine receive quick approval for an expansion that will extend operations until at least 2023. Preparing for its coal reserves to run out, GCC Energy, which has operated the King 2 coal mine near Hesperus since 2007, asked the Bureau of Land Management for an expansion of 950 acres of underground workings. The request for expansion was granted December 15th by the Interior Department in Washington, D.C., rather than going through the BLM state office in Denver, a process that sped up the approval and eliminated the possibility for appeal. Stephen Hall, spokesman for the BLM in Denver, said the decision reflects the Trump administration's orders to expedite energy development as well as streamline decision-making processes as it relates to the extraction industry. GCC Energy representatives said in June the mine was on track to run out of reserves in 2 years. If the expansion weren't granted, the company would be forced to shut down, laying off about 100 employees and cutting local tax revenues, officials said. The BLM this past summer released an environmental analysis that determined an expansion of the mine would have no significant impacts. The associated issues with King 2 prompted many in public comments to call for the BLM to conduct an environmental impact analysis, a more detailed and comprehensive study than the previously completed environmental analysis. Last week, the BLM said an environmental impact analysis was unnecessary and announced it would approve the expansion of the King 2 mine, albeit in a rather unusual manner. Typically, a mine company that operates on BLM land in Colorado that makes a request for an expansion will have its request reviewed and decided upon by the BLM state office in Denver. Regardless of the outcome, once the BLM reaches a decision, interested parties have the opportunity to file an appeal with the Interior Board of Land Appeals, a review body under the Department of the Interior, which the BLM is also part of. However, GCC's Energy's request for expansion was signed and approved by the Interior Department's Deputy Assistant Secretary in Washington, D.C., which means the decision can't be appealed and is effective immediately. The Trump administration's efforts to ease regulations on the industry have been well stated, especially after he signed an executive order last summer aimed at streamlining energy projects by bypassing processes such as environmental reviews.
The Journal in Cortez wrote about the upcoming visit of Louis L'Amour's son, Beau, to the Cortez Library. Posthumous publishing isn't uncommon when it comes to writers who are as prolific as Louis L'Amour. Sometimes the volume of unpublished work is big enough that what comes after their deaths ends up being intriguing as when they were alive. Beau L'Amour, son of the iconic Western writer, knows this well. The title of his father's new book, Louis L'Amour's Lost Treasures, Volume 1, explains what the author's son has undertaken since Louis died in 1988. When he passed away, we had all this stuff. My dad was a dynamo at creating the new thing, but he was not very attentive to organizing all the old things, he said. The organizing took on a life of its own. Louis L'Amour's Lost Treasures is the story behind the stories, Beau said. It is like Louis's professional biography, except that instead of play-by-play account, the pieces of his work are in the stories that they pertain to. Beau will discuss Lost Treasures at the Cortez Public Library Monday, January 8th at 6 p.m. Along with the new book, which is the first of a 2-volume series, there are also new postscripts included in 4 of Louis's books: Bendigo Shafter, How the West Was Won, Callaghan, and Down the Long Hills this year. Beau plans to publish at least half a dozen, maybe more, next year. Lost Treasures is not only full of stories that were not published, it also includes previously unfinished chapters of a Western horror novel Louis was writing. Though Louis was best known as a Western writer, Beau said he didn't limit himself to that genre. Putting the pieces of his father's life and work together helped Beau learn more about his father. There were some surprises, including, quote, the fact that he was so bad off in the 8 or 9 months before he sold the story The Gift of Cochise that became Hondo, and then the fact that within just a really short period of time, his entire career turned around. Beau said he went from going to the park so that he wouldn't be caught not eating breakfast to having deals with 3 publishers. I knew all of those things happened in sort of separate chunks, but I had never gotten them in order, and I had never pinned them right down to the calendar, he said, and I had never seen how dramatic the shift was. Up until he went to work for the Writers Project of the WPA in Oklahoma, he had been a prize fighter and a miner and a merchant seaman. Even though he had educated himself relatively well, he was a completely blue-collar guy, but with no trade affiliation, no union, no standing in any business, no real skills. He had to make it. For Beau, who has also been working on a biography about Louis for a long time, the project has been a way to stay close to the father he misses. Louis L'Amour's Lost Treasure Volume 1 discussion with the author Beau L'Amour is scheduled again at 6 p.m. Monday, January 8th at the Cortez Public Library, 202 North Park Street.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, lawmakers on the nation's largest American Indian reservation are throwing their support behind an effort to provide dormitory space for Navajo students at the University of New Mexico. The Navajo Nation Council late last week approved legislation to use nearly $1.5 million in supplemental funding for the effort. Under the plan, the tribe would execute a contract with the university to acquire an existing dormitory facility to house 118 Navajo students. The aim would be for the residence hall to reflect the tribe's cultural and historical values. Council Delegate Amber Kanazba Crotty sponsored the measure. She said the acquisition would help ease the financial burden of securing residency and increase retention rates for Navajo students. Tribal officials say they're also looking to invest in dorm space at other schools in the region.
Today's High Canyon Country happenings. More of the New Year's Eve events are on tap in our area, and they include J. Calvin's Funk and the Afro Beatniks at the Durango Arts Center from 9 to 11:50 p.m. December 31st. Tickets are $15 or $30 with a $2 processing fee at durangoarts.tix.com. Or if you want to make the drive and spend the night the other direction from Dove Creek, head up to Moab for the New Year's Eve at Woody's Tavern, hosted by Talia Keys from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Dubs and subs, live looping and synthesizing into 2018 with your pal Talia. Fat sounds, grooves, lights, and more. And back on December 29th, the Candyland Dance Party featuring DJ Slumberjacks will run from 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. in Ouray at the Club Nights upstairs at Brick House 737. Live dance party featuring DJ Slumberjacks. Dress to impress for a $100 cash prize for Best Candyland Costume. There's free entrance from 10 to 10:30 p.m., 21 and over. And from the DCTV News at Noon desk, we wish you and yours the best for everything in 2018. Have a safe and happy New Year's celebration, and we'll be seeing you next year. All of these happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 970-677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Wednesday and then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 3 and 6.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.